I'm proud of where I work because I get to do what I do, and I get to do what I do because we have so many people that support us and so many people that are willing to take chances. And that's the reality. What kind of chance are you willing to take?
Hey guys, I'm Eric Hewlin here with MTD CNC, and we have Neil from the University of Polaris and Pine Bush High School in upstate New York. So Neil, how are you doing today?
How are you? So my name is Neil Lisberg. I've been doing University of Polaris now for, 5 years, six if you count speed crew before that. We started out almost 10 years ago. We built a land speed motorcycle and broke a couple of records at the Bonneville Speedway, and that's kind of how this whole program got rolling. Like I said earlier, I was a social studies teacher, and this opportunity came about, and they said, is anybody interested? And the whole faculty room, not a single hand went up. And I went and talked to my boss, Mr. Hopmeyer, afterwards, and I'll be honest, I didn't think he was going to say yes. I said, look, I've been doing this since I was 6 years old. I've been riding and tearing up, I don't know if you heard me before, but my mom said she was raising kids, not grass.
Yeah.
I said, I know how to take stuff apart, put it back together. I have the skill. I don't have any credentials that go along with it. And that's kind of how things got rolling and the program started. Polaris is our, industry partner, but the idea is that these kids will get credentials to go work at a Polaris dealership as a service technician.
Yeah, it's incredible. It sounds like you've really built a program that kind of gives kids the opportunity that you had when you were young to work on these motorcycles and these UTVs and do the racing and the design.
Yeah, and that's just it. And I've had the gamut of kid who've come into the program, and we do things that no other school does, obviously, right? So that, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't, but I had a kid who's a TT class quad racer who was number 2 in the nation for racing. She travels all over the country on the weekends, and she was in the top 25 of her class. Really, really brilliant kid, very athletic, but also said, I have people that work on my stuff. I know how to ride, but I don't know how to do any of it.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, if I take this, I'm like, well, we're not working on the same exact thing, but it'll give you the general concept. So I have kids that have never touched a screwdriver before, and they come out taking engines apart and rebuilding stuff. So for me, I know it's a short 1-year period, but then I've also had other students who are like, okay, I just worked side by side with these guys, and we designed something and 3D printed something together. Now I want to go into that class, and I want to take that class. So they wind up seeing all the other opportunities, and they branch out, and now they've got an even different perspective because they have the application, they have the design, they have the engineering, they're working collaboratively. And I just had a conversation with our new superintendent, and I said to him, until you get into the real world, you don't frequently have that kind of collaboration amongst kids.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Think about when you went to high school, there was always a clique, there was always these group hung out, this group of friends hung out, this kid sat together at this lunch table, that kind of thing. We don't have that down here. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's a testament to the school, it's a testament to the professors, and the ability of manufacturing to bring people together.
Yeah, and it's so it all comes from support, obviously, and our principals and everybody support it, but it's very student-centered. It comes from them. This is what I want to do. Like, there's finally a program that this is what I want to do. And you show them what's available to them once they get into the real world, and we have kids that get hired right out of high school. They're making more than I am now. Mm-hmm. They're right out of high school, but I think I don't remember who was saying it, but we call it skilled labor.
Yeah.
There's a skill in there.
For sure.
Labor. You can't just go work. You want to go dig ditches and shovels. We need that too. Don't get me wrong, but there's a whole other world out there that a lot of kids are never exposed to, mm-hmm. and we get the opportunity to do that.
That's awesome, and you guys seem like you really have the students at the focal point of everything you're trying to do. And I think at the end of the day, that's why you'll never fail. That's why you're so successful, is that you keep the students as the focus.
Yeah, and it's never the same. So kids are the ultimate wild card. Mm-hmm. You don't know what they're bringing to the table. You don't know what skills they have already, or what they have, what they'd like to do, it's always the wild card. You don't know who the hard workers are and who the designers are and who the thinkers are. It's always different every year, and the projects that we do are always changing too, which is also real life. Nothing is static in real life. You can't everything changes. That's actually the one thing that has continuity and is always continuous, is that there's always change.
Yep.
So, I mean, while we change things in our classrooms as educators, the lesson is always still the same, just presented in a different way or so on. So these kids are seeing that, because they might have me this year, and they might have Mr. Marshall next year, and they had Riser on the side in between at some point. They're seeing multiple aspects, and they're seeing how things change and how, we have a 3D printer from a few years ago that, it's technically, we still use it, it's outdated technology, but they're like, oh, but these ones are cooler because they do this, this, and this, and they have this new function. So it's just, they're seeing it, and to me, why'd you get into education?
For sure, yeah, and the students are already recognizing the key points of machine tools. Oh, this one's a bigger work envelope. This one is more Z-axis travel. This one can print faster.
Yep. So they saw the different size mills, and they were like, how much bigger do they come? Like, what else can we make?
Yep.
And I was like, all right, we're not there yet. But you have this, a lot of times, this disconnect in education where you're teaching the concept and you can show them the example, but they never create the example for themselves. This is that they're creating what they're making. They're doing the math, they're doing the research, they're planning it out, but they're actually, the kid holds it in his hand when he's done. I made that. And then when they mount it on a piece of equipment and see it in use, they get it. There's this, we call it, teachers, teaching profession, they call it the aha moment. It's like this corny thing, right? But you see that light bulb click in their head, and you are just,
well, that's
can't
awesome.
be, can't
I'm sure
be,
that's
can't
what
be
makes it
prouder.
worth it.
Yeah, can't be prouder.
I'm sure that's what makes it worth it for you in the end,
Yeah, I go home, I'm like, look what we did today.
Yep.
I have pictures of everything we do. Look what we did today. I show my son. I'm like, I'm not in this district. I wish I could bring my kids to our district.
Oh, no, you're not.
No, I don't live in the district. I live outside the district, and my kids were pretty well established. They're not going anywhere, but every time we do something new or cool, I'm like, man, I wish we had moved into Pine Bush a long time ago.
Oh, I bet.
Because my wife we're not moving, that's for sure. But I'm proud of where I work because I get to do what I do, and I get to do what I do because we have so many people that support us and so many people that are willing to take chances. And that's the reality. What kind of chance are you willing to take? The old model of, it has to be this way and you have to go to college or you have to, no, that's a bunch of, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And that is, to me, I watch kids come up with stuff and you're guiding them and you're teaching them and you're like, okay, well, if you wanted to do that, you'd have to do it this way. And even if I don't know it, I'm totally willing to learn. We're constantly scrambling to stay ahead of the kids. I'm willing to learn. I didn't know how to use the mill. Now I'm certified. I didn't know how to use the lathe. I'm learning it. That's not part of Polaris, but who cares?
Yeah, and you're right there learning alongside the kids. So I'm sure they look at you as a role model.
And Riser was teaching wood shop, and he's like, look, I race cars all the time. He's like, I'm not the most mechanical person, but can you show me how this works? I have teachers come in and they're sitting and they're learning. It's cool.
Yep. Yeah.
When you have teachers come in and go, what are you doing? Can I watch? That's cool.
Yeah, and you guys have a lot of cool stuff to look at here, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You're either learning or you're dead, right, Vince?
Yeah, pretty much. You have to constantly evolve and have to constantly keep changing. You have to constantly learn yourself. Otherwise, you're getting stale. But with all this avenue, I'm down the road, not there yet. Down the road, I might wind up switching from teaching social studies after 17 years to being a tech teacher.
Yeah, it seems like you'd be more than qualified for it.
So I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Every time I learn something new, it's one more thing. It's one more thing. But it's different. It's real education. I don't know how to explain it any other different.